Troy Donahue, born Merle Johnson Jr., was a golden boy, an undeniable sex symbol and teen idol of American cinema in the late 1950s and early 1960s. With his blonde hair, blue eyes, and mild-mannered good looks, he was created by Warner Brothers as the ideal summer muse, most famously for his role as Johnny Hunter in the film A Summer Place, 1959, a huge commercial success. Behind the glittering aura and lucrative contracts, however, Donahue's life was a long, simmering series of personal tragedies. His career collapse in the mid-1960s, his long battle with alcoholism and drug addiction, and his bouts of homelessness were just a facade to hide a more sinister truth about his compulsion to hide his identity, a truth that only emerged cautiously in his later years. Was Donahue's tragedy simply a result of changing Hollywood tastes, or was it the result of invisible pressures from the studio system that forced him to sacrifice his authenticity to maintain an image he was not? And what questions does Troy Donahue's eventual daring to reveal about the two famous gay actors from classic Hollywood he secretly dated, Anthony Perkins and Rock Hudson, raise about the price of fame and the suppression of identity in the golden age of cinema? Let's explore this journey from the pinnacle of fame to the haunting corners of fate. Merle Johnson Jr. was born in 1936 in New York City and grew up in a privileged environment. His father, Frederick Merle Johnson, was the director of film advertising for General Motors, and his mother, Edith Johnson, was a former stage actress from Sweden. Donahue showed early aspirations for acting, although his parents wanted him to pursue a more stable career. His father was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, and died in 1950 when Donahue was 14. The death caused behavioral problems, including excessive drinking. After dropping out of high school, his mother sent him to the New York Military Academy, where he began writing and acting, even meeting and directing Francis Ford Coppola in school plays. After a knee injury ruined his chances of receiving an athletic scholarship, Donahue moved back to New York, studying journalism at Columbia University and working as a mailman for a commercial production company. His big break came in 1956, when Donahue moved to Los Angeles. There he was introduced to Henry Wilson, a powerful agent who was famous for representing heartbroken screen characters like Rock Hudson and Tab Hunter. Wilson changed his name to Troy Donahue, a name he learned in just 5 minutes. Donahue quickly signed a 6-month contract with Universal Studios, earning $125 a week. Donahue's career really began to peak when he was cast opposite Sandra Dee in Warner Brothers' 1959 film A Summer Place. The film, a dramatic tale of forbidden young love, was a box office hit, hitting #1 in the U.S. for 2 weeks. Donahue became an instant celebrity, especially among teenage audiences. In 1960, he received a Golden Globe Award for Most Promising Newcomer, Male. What was particularly impressive was that, after this success, Warner Brothers signed him to a long-term contract, starting at $400 a week. The studio aggressively built his image, sending him on a nationwide promotional tour, appearing on radio and TV shows, and having his face plastered on everything from posters to lunchboxes. Donahue, with his boy next door and good guy image, became a symbol of youthful idealism during the optimistic times of the Kennedy era. In parallel with his film roles, Warner Brothers pushed Donahue into television. He played Sandy Winfield II in the series Surfside 6, one of the successful spin-offs of 77 Sunset Strip. Although he disliked acting on TV because he considered himself a movie star, the show helped him become a household name. Soon after, he reunited with director Delmer Daves for other successful melodramas such as Parish, 1961, which he considered his most satisfying performance, and Rome Adventure, 1962, where he met Suzanne Plachette, his future wife. At the height of his fame in 1962, he received between 5,000 and 7,500 fan letters a week. In addition to the spotlight, Donahue's personal life was a mess of short-lived and violent relationships. Before his rise to fame, he had relationships with Judy Meredith and Nan Morris, both of whom accused him of being violent and possessive. A relationship with Swedish actress and model Lily Cardell ended in scandal in 1961 when Cardell sued Donahue for $60,450 for assault. To save Donahue's image, Warner Brothers settled the lawsuit out of court for $3,000. He married 4 times. His first marriage to Suzanne Plachette, 1964, lasted only 6 months, ending with Plachette filing for divorce for mental abuse. He was followed by Valerie Allen, 1966 to 1968, Alma Sharp, 1969 to 1972, and Vicki Taylor, 1979 to 1981. These marriages all fell apart due to Donahue's addiction and emotional instability. It was not until late in life that Donahue found stability with opera singer Jung Chao. Although they were never officially married, they were engaged and lived together in Santa Monica until his death. Donahue also had 2 children, Sean, born 1969, and Janine Curtis, born 1964, both of whom he only learned about as adults. However, the glamour of his early career could not mask Donahue's inner conflicts and the harsh changes of Hollywood. This section is key, where we analyze how his public image masked Donahue's double tragedy, his battle with addiction, and his concealment of his sexual identity. After his contract with Warner Brothers ended in the mid-1960s, Donahue quickly fell into a professional crisis. He complained that Jack Warner had played dirty on him, leaving him unable to find work. His boy-next-door image was out of date in the face of the counterculture and Hollywood's new anti-heroes. As his career declined, Donahue became increasingly addicted to alcohol and drugs. He started drinking at age 14 after his father's death. Donahue admitted that, even at the height of his career, he never showed up on camera without being drunk. His drug use escalated to the point where Donahue would down half a pint of vodka mixed with codeine and cocaine just to start the day. His personal life was in total disarray. After his divorce from Alma Sharp, Donahue revealed that he had become homeless, living in bushes in Central Park, New York, and depending on the kindness of friends and even fans for a hot meal or a place to sleep. In 1968, due to lawsuits and divorce, he was forced to file for bankruptcy. During his prime, Donahue's romantic heterosexual image was strictly protected by the studio. However, revelations in Donahue's later years, before his death in 2001, paint a completely different picture of his love life. The reinvestigation. Hidden findings. Donahue candidly admitted that he dated men in his younger years, some of them big Hollywood stars, relationships that were kept completely secret. He explained that in the 1950s, being gay could cost a person everything, and that studios would destroy you if you were found out. In the revelations, Donahue named 2 people. 1. Anthony Perkins, the mysterious star best known for playing Norman Bates in Psycho. Donahue described their relationship as passionate and secretive. They met in the late 1950s and had to meet at the homes of trusted friends or drive to the beach at night to talk. "We could never go out in public together," Donahue said. "We had to pretend, always pretend." 2. Rock Hudson, the icon of straight masculinity on screen. Donahue hinted at a complicated relationship and mutual understanding. Donahue commented that Hudson had it even harder than Donahue, because Hudson was a larger-than-life role model, and if he slipped, the whole house of cards would collapse. These confessions revealed a dark truth in the old studio system. Studios controlled not only the professional image, but also the personal identity of stars, forcing them to live a double life, to bear the high cost of maintaining a false image. Troy Donahue's tragedy was not a single event, but a convergence of many factors. 1. Personal factors, psychological and health. Innate addiction, starting with the pain of losing his father, then accumulated and promoted by the Hollywood environment. Donahue's continued substance use was a coping mechanism for his dissatisfaction with his career trajectory. He wanted to be a movie star instead of a TV star, and the stress of maintaining a false image. 2. Social factors, public pressure. The public's expectation of the ideal, gentle boy-next-door image became a cage. This pressure made it impossible for him to accept the truth about his diverse sexual identity or his personal unethical behaviors, such as domestic violence. 3. Systemic factors, studio and law. This was the core factor. The Warner Brothers system fiercely constructed and protected Donahue's heterosexual image, even paying to settle abuse lawsuits. When Donahue wanted to change his image, playing the villain in My Blood Runs Cold or changing his appearance, the system rejected and discarded him. The existence of homosexual relationships with major stars like Perkins or Hudson shows a necessary complicity in maintaining a giant veil of lies about the image of the romantic hero. The tipping point, the moment of no return. The tipping point can be identified as Donahue's departure from Warner Brothers in 1966, combined with his continued involvement in personal scandals, such as Valerie Allen's 1968 lawsuit for extreme abuse, and his bankruptcy filing. This was a simultaneous personal and professional breakdown, leaving him grounded and homeless, a cruel contrast to his once famous image. Donahue's public struggle with and eventual victory over addiction, he achieved sobriety in 1982 and remained so until his death, brought him a rebirth. He was able to return to the screen with guest roles in The Love Boat and Chips, and most notably a self-parodying turn in John Waters' Crybaby, 1990. The revelations about Donahue's secret life, particularly his relationships with Anthony Perkins and Rock Hudson, were a bigger shock than his failed career. They challenged the public's belief in the clean image they had worshipped and revealed the truth about a generation that had been stifled. Donahue, in his courage, served as a bridge between the false glamour of the Gilded Age and the belated recognition of the culture of silence and punishment of difference. It was an indictment of a system that forced individuals to abandon their authenticity in exchange for fame. His life is a reminder that, for some celebrities, the greatest burden is not the financial or the fame, but the burden of secrecy. Troy Donahue's life, from naive muse in a summer place to homeless New Yorker and finally survivor who finds sobriety, is a multi-layered story of the harsh rise and fall of Hollywood fame. His career was ruined by the changing times, but the deeper tragedy lies in the fact that he lived under two masks, a romantic heterosexual one for the public, and a secret, inner struggle one for his personal life. Donahue's late-life honesty about his hidden relationships was an act of redemption and a cherished legacy, exposing the ruthless workings of studio power. The hidden truth about Donahue's secret life, along with his battles with addiction, raises a challenging question. Have we as a society and the entertainment industry really learned anything from the human cost that a generation of actors like Troy Donahue, Rock Hudson, and Anthony Perkins paid to maintain a beautiful illusion that the public demanded?